And we are back for part 1 of 4 of section 2 in course number 15, which is taught by me, who is a 10. You get the point. As a reminder, if you have already done quite a bit of research on your customers already, and maybe already have, say, a large batch of sales, 1, why are you taking this course? And 2, feel free to skim through this section or just skip it. For the rest of you growth flunkies, we're taking it way back to the basics so that we can understand how to sell our business and connect with our customers. We're gonna talk about pain. Pain. It's what your mom might say if you asked her what it was like to raise you. It's that thing that's silently knocking over all of our old people, and it's the sole reason anyone ever buys anything. Yes, anyone who has ever bought something, whether it's a face-sized iPhone 7S or a veggie burger, was in some way reacting to a pain they have. In the first case, it's the pain of not being able to hide in plain daylight while making a phone call. And the second, the pain of being beaten up by vegan gangs down the street because you might have indulged in a turkey burger. Those flesh eaters. All joking aside, any product or service you can think of can be tied back to a pain or frustration or inconvenience that someone has. Taxis, for instance, are slow, expensive, obnoxious, and more likely than not to wreck in any given 15-minute drive. That is a pain. Who solves that wholly or partially? Well, ride-sharing apps like Uber, Lyft, and the Chinese knockoff companies of those two, which we'll call Fuber and Fift. What pain does Zynga address with Farmville besides the pain of having an uncluttered newsfeed? Well, actually, they target the pain of boredom. Specifically, we're talking about the pain of boredom, the loneliness of playing a game by yourself, and the cost of buying a console to play a game traditionally. SprintKick, for instance, my development agency, tackled the pain of it's hard to build a custom application, and templated platform systems like Squarespace or Wix don't give really enough control or customization that I need. Also, the pain of not wanting to pay US prices and the frustration that comes from managing and communicating with traditional outsourced firms. Now, a lot of you might think that there are, in fact, companies out there that simply don't address pain points at all, but instead are just wouldn't it be cool if companies. The point is, whatever you're doing, there is something you are reacting to. It might not be the case that you've thought much about it, but well, that's why we're doing it now. If you don't know the pain or frustration you solve, then you won't know how to communicate to your potential customers, to convince them that my solution solves your pain and is worth what I'm asking in return. So how do you figure out what pain you are addressing? Well, for one, if you already have made a sale, you can take a shortcut to this answer and just ask your customers, why did you buy this? Or why did you sign up for this? You'll generally get a response that relates to a problem or some kind of an issue they had. If the response is instead something along the lines of, I just thought it would be neat to X, Y, and Z, then really all you have to do is ask a follow-up question. Why would doing X, Y, Z be useful? And that usually gets the answer you want. If you don't have customers yet, well, there are a series of 3 questions I want you to ask yourself, preferably out loud. Why did I start this business in the first place? The most classic example of why someone starts a business is because they want to solve something, and it wouldn't be a solution worth making if there wasn't a problem or pain point there to begin with. The next question to ask yourself is, when someone uses this product or business, what do they benefit? Is it cheaper, faster, better quality? Well, once you determine what exactly the theoretical benefit is, you can look back for the inverse of it. If your service, for instance, is faster, well, then you might be solving the problem that getting this task done traditionally takes too long, or maybe they don't have enough time for it. If it's cheaper, then you're probably solving the pain point of something being too expensive. Now, the last question I want you to ask yourself is, are there substitutes for what I'm trying to do? And if there are, how do my potential customers feel about using them? Opening a restaurant? You are servicing hunger, and there are many ways to address hunger. How do you think people feel about eating what essentially amounts to foam core covered with tomato sauce, also known as DiGiorno's? In the next lecture, and also attached to this lecture as a resource, you'll find a worksheet for you to follow along with. I want you to take that sheet and just record separately in a document the answers to these questions. At the end of the sheet, you'll write out the pains or frustrations you think your business or product targets. And then lastly, you're gonna rank them based on what you feel are the biggest ones. All right, we are moving on to the next lecture. See you then.